All right, so today we're diving deep into a book that's practically a legend. Who Moved My Cheese? Over 21 million copies sold in just 5 years, you know? That's wild. What do you think it is about this book that makes it connect with so many people?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? It takes on this like universal experience dealing with change, right? But it does it in a way that's both easy to grasp, relatable, but also insightful. It's like, almost like a life lesson disguised as this simple story. Anyone can pick it up and find something in it.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of the story, at the heart of it is this allegory, mice and little people looking for cheese in a maze. Could you break down what that represents for those who haven't read it? What's the deeper meaning there?
Okay, so picture this. The maze, that's like the journey of our lives, right? With
Wow.
all the ups and downs, dead ends, surprises, you name it, and the cheese. Well, think of it as anything we really, really want, crave. Could be a great career, loving relationships, financial security, anything. The mice and the little people, they show us the different ways we react when life throws us a curveball and that cheese, those things we want, they kind of shift.
And who hasn't felt that? That feeling when something you rely on, boom, it's gone, it's changed. It's that who moved my cheese moment. Right.
Exactly. And what this book does so well, I think, is it gives us these four very distinct characters. Sniff, Scurry, Hem, and Haw. Each one shows us a different approach to handling those cheese-moving moments.
Yeah, it's like looking in a mirror almost. You can
Yeah.
see little bits of yourself in each of them. So let's start with Sniff and Scurry, our mouse duo. What is it about their approach to change that makes them stand out?
Well, with Sniff and Scurry, it's refreshingly straightforward. Sniff, he's got this incredible sense of smell, so he's the first to notice when the cheese is getting, a little old. And Scurry, true to his name, he's all about action. The moment he senses change, he's off, scurrying along, finding new cheese. They're just very practical.
Always prepared, never overthinking things. And then we have our little people, Hem and Haw. They're a little more, let's just say, complicated in how they deal with things, yeah.
For sure. Hem, he's our resident lover of comfort. See, change to Hem, it's unsettling. He'd much rather stick to what he knows, even when it's not really working anymore, even when that cheese is, well, gone. He's the one who's all like, who moved my cheese? Like it's a personal attack.
Reminds me of that saying, the only constant is change. But man, do we fight it sometimes. Okay, and Ha. He starts off in a similar place to Hem, but his journey it's pretty insightful, don't you think?
Totally. Haw's story is all about, transformation. He really struggles with that cheese disappearing, can't let go of the past. But eventually, he figures out that to find new cheese, you got to be open to leaving the old behind. He shows us that as tough as embracing change can be, it's what helps us grow, discover new possibilities.
So we've got our four characters, each showing us different ways we react when things change. And where do they find themselves? Cheese Station C. It's overflowing with cheese, like the ultimate dream.
And this is where we see those different approaches to change really start to play out. The mice, Sniff and Scurry, well, they do what mice do. They keep it simple.
Practicality is their motto, right? There's even that detail about how they hang their running shoes up right there at Cheese Station C. Almost like they know this abundance might not last forever.
Exactly. It's like they get it,
That
they
part.
understand that things change. Meanwhile, Ham and Ah, our little people, they're busy getting comfortable.
Maybe a little too comfortable. Decorating their little cheese spot, acting like Cheese Station C is going to be their personal cheese paradise forever.
Yeah, complacency sets in. They start to believe that their happiness, their sense of security, it's all tied to this one place, this one source of cheese. It's a pretty common trap, don't you think? We all do it sometimes, convincing ourselves that the good times will last forever.
Oh, absolutely. It's easy to get lulled into that false sense of security and forget that, well, change is going to happen. And that's where things start to get interesting in the story because we know as readers what's coming. The cheese is going to disappear.
And I love how Spencer Johnson sets that up. The cheese, it dwindles away slowly, bit by bit. It's such a great parallel to how change often happens in our own lives.
Yeah.
It's rarely this big, dramatic event. It's more like these subtle shifts that we can easily miss or choose to ignore until it's too late.
Those little warning signs, right? The cracks in the foundation. But Sniff and Scurry, they're on it. With their constant sniffing and scurrying, they pick up on those changes early.
And because they haven't gotten overly attached to Cheese Station C, because they're not bogged down with, stuff or routines, they adapt quickly. Remember those running shoes? They just grab them and head back into the maze. No complaints, no drama.
It's just like, okay, cheese is gone, time to find more cheese. Meanwhile, Hem and Haw, Their whole world is rocked. They wake up expecting that cheesy goodness and bam, nothing, just an empty cheese station.
And their reactions, so human, even though they're little people. Denial, anger, placing blame, they go through the whole emotional roller coaster. Remember when Ham yells, "Who moved my cheese?" It's kind of funny, but it's also so relatable, right? We've all felt that sense of injustice when things change on us.
Yeah, like it's a personal attack.
Yeah.
But all that does is keep them stuck, right? Clinging to that old cheese, that old way of doing things when they could be out there finding new possibilities.
And this is where Ha's journey becomes really interesting for us. He starts to realize that, hey, to find new cheese, he has to be willing to let go of the old. Not easy to do, right?
Definitely not. He's got to confront all that fear and uncertainty, which is something we'll dig into in the next part of our Who Moved My Cheese deep dive. So last we left off, Ha's at this crossroads, right? He's starting to get it, being stuck in that empty cheese station sea. Well, that's not going to bring the cheese back. But actually going out into the maze. Now that's scary.
Oh, totally. And that's what makes Ha's journey so powerful, you know. He doesn't just flip a switch and become this fearless adventurer. He's got doubts. He's unsure. There's even that part where he thinks about just going back, you know, back to Cheese Station C, even though he knows it's empty.
Classic. We've all been there, right? That pull to choose comfort over the unknown, even when deep down you know it's not going to get you anywhere. But what I find so interesting about Ha is he finds these little ways to deal with that fear. He starts writing messages on the walls of the maze.
It's like he's leaving himself a trail, you know. But instead of breadcrumbs leading him back to the old cheese, it's these little nudges toward a new way of thinking. Remember that when he writes, "If you do not change, you can become extinct." It's kind of blunt, but
It gets the point across.
right, it's this wake-up call, you know?
Yeah.
If we're stuck in old ways of doing things, old beliefs, we stop growing. And the world, it doesn't wait around for us to catch up.
That's a powerful message for all of us, I think. But what's inspiring to me is he doesn't just have this big epiphany and everything's perfect. He takes it slow, step by step, one message, one realization at a time.
And that's huge
Yeah.
because change, it can feel so overwhelming, you know? But when we break it down, make it manageable, it's less scary,
It's not about being perfect, it's about making progress.
right?
And so after all that searching, all that internal work, can you imagine the feeling when he finds it? Cheese Station N, even better than he could have imagined.
Full of amazing new cheese. And of course, who's already there, but sniff and scurried, happy as can be.
Yeah.
They've long since moved on. Embrace the change. Simple as that.
They're like, took you long enough, Ha.
But here's the real takeaway, and I think this is where Who Moved My Cheese really nails it. Finding that new cheese, that's not the true victory. It's the journey, you know?
Yeah.
It's about how much Ha has grown along the way. He's faced his fears, changed how he sees things, and he's come out stronger, more resilient. He's learned that change. It's hard, but it opens up these amazing possibilities. And that being adaptable, being willing to let go of that old cheese, well, that's how we navigate this crazy maze called life.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Who Moved My Cheese, the question I'll leave you with is this. Where in your life are you holding on to old cheese? Old habits, old beliefs that maybe aren't serving you anymore? And what new cheese, what amazing new possibilities could be out there waiting for you if you were willing to let go and explore? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.